We begin this morning in Kenya. On the front page of the Daily Nation newspaper, the big story says, Presidency burst full year budget in 7 months. And this, of course, talking about spending of the presidency. Ruto seeks 2 billion shillings to globetrot. What a header. I don't know if a visit to Nigeria will be part of,
probably will stop
will be recorded or regarded as globetrotting as well. It says here, taxpayers will fork out 20 billion shillings to facilitate President William Ruto's trips abroad if Parliament approves the budget proposals for the financial year starting the 1st of July. The National Treasury has allocated 700 million shillings for the President's state visits, but MPs have now been told to add another 1.3 billion shillings. For more details, check out page 4 of the Daily Nation. We have here some sub-stories. Oh, here, health. AI aids search for antibiotic to fight stubborn bacteria. When we talk about artificial intelligence, I guess that's one of the upsides we can talk about. Food, fish prices to rise by 50 PC on new task, says importers. Budavadi, is he Ruto's ambassador at large? We also have here at the top of the paper, housing levy unstoppable. President tells Raila the issue between Raila and Ruto is still ongoing. Azimio raises red flag over multi-billion shilling school cooking gas project. School cooking gas project, multi-million? Interesting. Leicester leads in Southampton to miss top flight next season. And that's all that we can take. And now that we've talked about sports once again, glory, glory, Man United.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, of course, let's go to the Daily Monitor in Uganda this morning, see what we can find over there. A sad story there with the Al-Shabaab attack. The unanswered questions. It says a gray area. There is no official word on deaths and injuries of UPDF troops 72 hours later, with one senior security source vaguely saying fatalities are under 100.
Wow.
As the army races to establish whether command and intelligence failures or other reasons caused the breach. That's a really, really, really sad story. I remember also when Boko Haram fighters, I think, attacked the Nigerian army base somewhere in, I think it was in Kaduna then. That of course also led to, deaths of dozens and dozens of soldiers. Really, really sad. Also this morning on the Daily Monitor, Bundibio, I beg your pardon, schools not opening over measles. NRM party legislators start 10-day retreat, and also travelers panicked. Managers of vessel in accident scare say. You can also find at the top of your screen, light cars to start using Katonga Bridge, says the UNRA. An army top brass meets soldiers. Final story this morning on the Daily Monitor in Uganda. It says there, of course, an article, prioritize your child's mental health. That's on page 16. What age do you start to consider the mental health of your child?
As little as possible, because children have emotions, children can feel, and children can sense things. And a number of times why we have broken adults is because they were broken children who had traumas that were not being paid attention to. So parenting is a deliberate thing. It's not something that you stumble into, which is why they tell people to use protection. Anyway, let's come to the west of the continent and see what's happening on the Nigerian Tribune. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, Tinubu takes oath of office today. His road to presidency, Abuja agog, all set for his inauguration. Eagle Square takes shape. Security forces cordon off 3 arms zone. Governors-elect set for inauguration in 28 states, and world leaders arrive. It's also quite a wet morning in the Federal Capital Territory this morning. Buhari orders military to surrender Obalende Eid ground to Lagos Muslim community. Once Lagos State government CFO issued to Jamaatao Muslimin Council. Olubadan, Anyoku, Emefiele, Oshoba, Daura, others for national honors on page 102. Buhari discriminated against South, and this is according to Clark. And that's also on page 102. At the top of the paper we have, police arrest 7 in Ibadan. Lagos, as Yoruba Nation agitators attack radio, police stations. Akintoye disowns perpetrators, still on page 102. The final story this morning on the Nigerian Tribune, Autumn hands over 178 billion naira debt to successor. What a joy it will be for a number of governors in this country, seeing the amount of debts that they'll be inheriting.
No, I don't agree. Funny enough, I think a lot of them do not care. because before they started contesting the elections, they were
They knew.
very aware that
Yeah,
the
true
state
that.
was in debt. They don't care. A lot of them would borrow, and add to those debts. A lot of them would not pay off those debts. It would just be there for years and years and years. So I don't think that is a scary thing for any person who's running for office. A lot of them will continue on that path and continue borrowing because it's not their personal money that pays.
I mean, it's why you would have an interview, watch an interview with someone who was a former governor, and then you're talking about like the problems that the person's encountered. You're trying to analyze the person's time in office, and they're saying, "Was I the first? Was the problems not there before me?" Because it's a thing of
once again, they're not paying this debt from their pockets. They're paying it from state
taxpayers'
funds.
money.
If they have to, if they will pay at all. So, no, I don't think it's such a problem. All right, let's go to the Guardian. Final story this morning. Final newspaper this morning. Still here in Nigeria. It says cautious optimism as Tinubu offers hope to weary Nigerians. Yeah.
That heading.
That pretty interesting header there. And of course, the wary should have been in bold, capital letters. On page 6, 8 years, 8 performance indicators. You can find out how well the Buhari administration performed in different ways, unemployment, with minimum wage, with the exchange rate,
CBN's
fiscal
budget
deficits,
as well.
exactly, accrued savings. I'm looking for the one that is.
Oh, there's exchange rate. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Exchange rate says at the time that they got into office, it was
195
naira to the dollar,
Yeah.
and they're leaving office with 760 naira to the dollar. You know what that reminds me of? The proverbial frog in the boiling water. If you get a frog and typically just throw it into hot water, it will jump out. But if you leave the frog there and then the water is boiling, so that's literally what's been happening.
Yeah.
People have sort of found a way to adjust to really difficult life because $195 to $760 is
It's
a jump.
insane, and of course,
It's quite a jump.
with a minimum wage that really didn't increase, but once again, these are some of the things that I believe, should be able to detail exactly the performance of the current administration or President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. And I do not know that facts can be argued. I don't know how they, would be able to argue against these things or say that, because he's saying that he left Nigeria better than he met it. So I do not know what facts he's looking at or what he's being told, or if there are other performance indicators that he may be looking at, to tell himself that. There's none, there's no data that shows that, okay, maybe, there are 2 more functioning trains currently. A couple of the express roads have been built. The Dangote refinery, was built in its time. The second Niger bridge, was completed in its time also. But if you look at these things, and ask the average Nigerian across the country, how much better is your life today? How much better does the refinery make your life? Well, I mean, it's not even started
It's still
yet.
pretty.
Yeah,
so
how
you
much
can't
better
choose
does the express roads make your life? Nobody is going to say, oh, my life is a lot better today than it was 8 years ago because of this particular expressway. And so you can't really. So I don't know what the argument really would be. Is it healthcare?
Yeah, so part of the, like you mentioned, part of the way in which you would judge a government's efficiency or how effective or productive their time was would be looking at all these areas. Look at education as well.
Yeah.
Look at healthcare. How would you say that in terms of healthcare, do we have better access to healthcare? Do we have better access to
The president still traveled to his
dentists?
a couple of weeks before he left office. So that's a dead conversation.